Hello, everyone. Today we have with us Mr. Arpan Bajpai, Assistant Manager Legal at Manpower Group Services India Private Limited, one of the largest MNCs in the human resources sector. After completing his BA LLB honors from University School of Law and Legal Studies, GGS IPU, Delhi in 2014, Mr. Bajpai joined RADN Partners, where he gained his initial professional experience. After RADN Partners, Mr. Bajpai went on to work as the legal executive at R1 RCN Global Private Limited, formerly known as Accretive Health Services Private Limited, another leading MNC in the healthcare sector. Apart from his extensive corporate legal experience, Mr. Bajpai has also completed a one-year certificate course in entrepreneurship, administration, and business laws. We are very happy to have you speak with us today, sir. We welcome you.
Pleasure is all mine, please.
So, beginning with the interview today, so let's start with discussing the beginning of your journey and what inspired you to pursue law.
So it all started with my father, I guess. So he's also an LLB. Though he never practiced law, he was in a government job. I saw him resolving a lot of disputes among families and friends, actually. Though he had a very regular government job, he used to mention that law has always helped him add a different perspective to look into things that a general public may not see, right? This made him special, and people used to look up to him for solutions for complex daily problems, I guess. So that inspired me to pursue law because being a problem solver has also been my role, and always wanted to pursue law for that aspect. So this has been, my father has been my inspiration so far for pursuing law. And so far and so good, the law as a profession has turned out to be very good for me.
True, true. And could you tell us more about your role and responsibilities as assistant manager legal at Manpower Group Services India?
So working as an assistant manager legal in Manpower Group India, I look into a vast array of laws in order to fulfill my roles and responsibilities. I play a key role in finalizing various complex business deals of the organization as I have to work on various kinds of contracts. Also, I liaise with the external counsels and strategize with both internal and external teams towards quick resolution of the litigation matters of the organization, right? I also conduct internal legal audits to check that we are compliant with all the latest laws and regulations in the industry.
Okay.
So that has been my role so far as a primary role to look as an assistant manager legal in Manpower Group India. Apart from that, there are many ad hoc or new projects coming into, so I look into that as well.
All right. And did you always wanted to work in a corporate law sector?
Yeah, business deals has always interested me, which developed a keen interest in corporate laws, right? I always wanted to work on different verticals, business verticals, and understand how business industries work. Also, understanding how complex deals are taken care of by the councils of giant conglomerates who are making millions and billions and have a huge role to play in our economy,
Right.
right? So that has been that always intrigued me towards pursuing corporate law.
And since you entered the corporate law sector after gaining a primary experience in litigation, how would you say the same has helped you?
So, if I talk about working in MNCs or pursuing corporate law in an MNC as an in-house counsel, they don't, people generally or the organizations don't generally look you as a lawyer, they look you as a problem solver, right? So, not only in the corporate sector, but litigation also plays an important role. So, when you are part of the legal team as an in-house counsel in any organization, obviously people look you as a problem solver towards aiming good deals in the business
Right.
and also solving the disputes in the organization. So obviously, according to me, if you ask me, then definitely litigation experience has always helped me towards uh, pursuing a career as an in-house counsel.
Right, rightly said. Uh, Many of our viewers are interested in pursuing a career in the corporate sector, specifically MNCs. What would your advice be to them?
So, first of all, every associate or a person who wants to pursue career in an MNC has to understand the requirements of the organization, right? Um, what the organization generally does, how the person can add something of value to the organization, and because every person has its own set of interest in different business verticals. Some of them would like to work in an HR industry. Some of them would like to work in an energy business. Some of them would like to work in a consulting business, right? So every person has their own set of interest. What interest actually, what passion do they want to pursue, or what industry vertical they want to work upon, is all dependent on them, on their research as to how good that industry is, and what are the future prospects of that industry, obviously. So supposedly, if I take an example, energy businesses going for a boom, people are moving towards green energy, renewable energy. So new businesses are working towards that. Many new businesses are being built towards that because they see electric vehicles, energy sector to be working side by side, and producing new businesses altogether and working towards that. Specific also talking about the IT industry. IT industry is also on a boom. People are working towards a lot of IT industries and basically working towards IT contracts.
Right.
So every person has their own set of interest and passion, and they have to research before getting into an MNC. But yes, before getting into an MNC, I would also suggest them to definitely have a good exposure of working in the courts, because
Yes.
that is what law practice is all about. If you want to understand law on the ground level, first of all, I would recommend them personally to go towards courts first, understand as to how the law works, how the procedure works. Once they get a hand of the procedure, they can also work upon towards their own skill interest of contracts and everything, do a lot of uh, hard work, research and all, and then they can move on towards working in an MNC.
Right, right. And since you said that, one needs to research to, if you're going to into an MNC or any other sector. So when you have to go in an MNC, how should one apply and prepare for an interview with an MNC?
So again, coming back to that same point, one has to understand the requirements of what the MNC actually asks for. So whenever there is a, for example, whenever there's a job opening in an MNC, right? Then what happens is they give you a job description about what they want from you. One has to go through that and understand whether he can be a good fit for the organization.
So when you talked about researching to get into any sector, how should one apply and prepare for an interview to get in an MNC?
So there are in the website of the MNC, there is always in major of the organization websites, there is always an email ID of the HR, right? There's a there's a common email ID that is being circulated, and one can apply through that. But I would still advise to first look into the job openings. If there are any, then first understand the organization, their job requirements, and then apply for a job in an MNC, because that will keep you more prepared towards what you want from this organization and what the organization is willing to give it to you, right? And how much lateral growth can you expect from this work that you will be going to do in an MNC. And your CV has to be pretty crisp in that aspect, because they need to understand that they are choosing a right candidate, and whatever is being asked to you will majorly be asked from your CV, though they will dig deep into your CV to understand as to how good you are with the concepts. So obviously, always be very truthful in your CV. That's what my recommendation is. And once you put anything in your CV, then definitely you should be able to substantiate it, right? So this is how the approach should be while applying for an MNC in any organization as an in-house counsel.
Right. And are candidates with both litigation and corporate experience given preference in corporate houses over candidates with only corporate experience?
See, that also depends upon the requirement of the organization. Though a person with litigation and corporate experience is given major preference because any organization at any point in time can end up into a litigation, and nobody has seen the future for that matter. So anybody with a litigation experience always helps the organization to gain exposure from the candidate, help from him, take help from him, learn new things from him, and then act accordingly. So, as per my suggestion, litigation and corporate experience mix is a very good thing for for an MNC, and they prefer candidates like that.
All right. And could you tell us how the HR legal industry has grown since you started at the Manpower Group?
I started in Manpower Group around 4 years ago. The HR industry at that very point in time was having um, HR industry has been working pretty fine since then. Though during the COVID scenarios, at that very point in time, there was a lot of hiring and firing going on, less hiring, more firing for that matter. But the IT sector was pretty good during that time frame itself because they did not want those candidates
Right.
to work from office. They were very much comfortable in allowing them to work from home. But those candidates, those employees who were there working in stores, because we were there on the ground level, we knew about how these things were working at that very point in time. So those people who were there working in stores, due to lockdown, all the stores were shut, and they were all losing jobs at that very point. But now, since the lockdown has been uplifted and the market has come down to back to its original position now and is even gearing up, they are doing more hirings. And yes, definitely the HR industry is up for a boom. I tell you why, because the new laws are also on the verge of getting notified and being implemented in various organizations now on pan India basis. And once those new laws will come into picture, definitely the scope of the HR industry will increase, as well as people, or I would say in-house counsels working in the HR industry will also grow. The requirement is going to grow because they want more people, or I would say more in-house counsels who have good understanding of the HR laws to have this exposure and have an understanding about the new labor laws as well.
Right.
So this is how it is.
And which corporate sectors would you say are the most promising or have the most scope for growth for a lawyer today?
For a lawyer, see, every industry I would say has substantial growth. A lawyer needs to be very skilled. A lawyer needs to have a lot of knowledge, and a lawyer needs to have a lot of practice in order to have that kind of an understanding. But in terms of industry, if you ask me, then obviously I have mentioned it several times. IT industry is on a growth today. All the industries that are going towards sustainable growth, or working towards the environment, or working towards anything that adds less pollution and more towards sustainability of earth, definitely they are on a boom side today, and they will be growing forward in future as well. So IT sector, energy business, all tech related organizations, various startups these days are working very hard to get into that sphere, and that's how the growth is working as of now.
Nice. And you've also completed a 1 year certification course in entrepreneurship, administration, and business laws. How has this course helped you?
So, as I had a very keen interest in pursuing corporate laws, So the point of pursuing this course was basically towards having a more understanding and more uh, in-depth knowledge about what are the various aspects in the corporate laws that I can work upon. In your general college, you go through the books and everything, but we are all tied up with the semester exams and semester works, that assignments and everything, that we don't get time to explore more. We just hang around the books and all, right, at that very point in time. So this 1 year certification course is something that you can do with your job, right? While working, you can spend around 2 to 3 hours. It also helps you motivate and also have an understanding of various aspects of law within the corporate sector that you can work upon. I'm not very sure whether this course has been divided into several other parts, or is it the same course now, because I did it in the year 2015. Not very sure about it, but yeah, various websites and organizations such as LawSeco and all, they are giving you good certification courses wherein one has an interest in, right? Supposedly, if one has an interest in pursuing intellectual property rights, right, then they can work towards, they can have an in-depth knowledge through the certification courses, right? Also, business laws must be there, and other various other courses, competition laws, having an understanding of competition laws, tax laws, and all. So these are there that are easily available in the market today, and one can have a good understanding and have in-depth knowledge of all these concepts, and that would definitely help them when it comes to seeking a job as an in-house counsel, or probably practicing law for that matter.
Right. And can you recommend some books for entrepreneurship, administration, and business laws for our aspirants?
See, entrepreneurship administration is something that is more towards the business side. But when it comes to business laws and all, there is probably, I just got through this book of Miss Sushma Arora, Taxman Business Laws, and there is this Tejpal Sheth's business laws book. You may go through any book; they will have the same laws after all. They'll give you the better understanding of all these things. So knowledge is something that I say that it never goes wasted, right? If you just try to apply that knowledge in the right aspect. So that's what I can say.
Right. And with that, we do come to an end of this interview for today. So thank you so much for taking the time out and sharing your expertise and insight with our viewers today. This has been
Happy
very
to do so.
informative. We sincerely appreciate
Thank
it
you.
and we wish you the very best for your journey.
Same to you, Ritu.
Thank you, sir.
Cool.